Poltava is an elite rarity battleship from the Northern Parliament, and is part of the Gangut class of battleships. She's only available during the Snow Realm Peregrination event from the event banner, with the event running from the 29th of February to the 13th of March. Poltava was launched from the Admiralty Shipyard on the 23rd of July 1911, was put into service on the 30th of December 1914, acquired by the Soviet Navy in 1917, decommissioned in October of 1918, renamed to the Frunze on the 7th of January 1926, stricken on the 1st of December 1940, and scrapped in 1949. Poltava did the usual tasks a Soviet battleship had in the Second World War. Here are her more interesting exploits. Prevented the Germans from breaking into the Gulf of Finland, though they never tried to in the first place. A fire broke out in her front boiler room on the 24th of November 1919, gutting most of their interior and making her a source of spare parts for her Gangut-class sisters. Was considered for conversion to aircraft carrier, but the plan was abandoned due to the cost. Was planned to be restored to original configuration in 1925, but by the time funds were fully used, she was only 46.5% complete by 1926. Another attempt was made to modernize her, or make her into a battle cruiser by removing a turret, but she was fully abandoned in 1935. In 1934, 2 of her turrets were sent to Vladivostok Fortress as shore artillery, and later after World War II, her other guns were used to reinforce Sevastopol. With 2 of her turrets in Sevastopol and the other 2 in Vladivostok, she's jokingly known as the longest battleship in the world at a length of 7,354 kilometers. In her character art, Poltava wears a white, extremely form-fitting latex bodysuit underneath a white shoulderless shirt with black shirt collar and belts, a ripped and torn white coat with fur trim and blue interior, white gloves with exterior metal nails, black cross hairband, and iron cuffs with chains that have daggers at the end of them. Her rigging consists of what looks to be a large boiler directly behind her, ironic, with a smokestack, bridge, and crane superstructure on top. To her left and right are 2 triple-barreled naval cannons, large steel armatures, in the fronts of hulls of ships, all of which have ice covering them. She herself sits on an icicle of black ice, has a large chain with spike at the end flying around her, and has steam and a ring of water beneath her. Her outfit for the event, meeting the Mafia Queen, is available from the shop for 780 gems. In the outfit, Poltava wears a black leather harness with multiple belts, metal rings, and a choker underneath a black business suit jacket, black skirt, the same black cross hairband from before, thigh highs with white flowers on them, black high heels, and a ring on her left middle finger. Poltava herself sits on a large leather chair with a manju on a chain and a manju with sunglasses, a tie, and a cigar to her left. A window with purple curtains behind her, and a table with a bottle of liquor and a quarter-full glass to her right. In her voice lines, voiced by Sawako Hata, who also voices Fiji in Azur Lane, and Marianne von Edmund in Fire Emblem Three Houses, Poltava is very strict on etiquette.
あなたが同志指揮官ね。北方連合所属、戦艦ポルタバ。今日からあなたの仕事に協力するわ。母校の顔役として、作法も立ち振る舞いも厳しく見てやるから、覚悟しておきなさい。なんだか眠そうね、同志指揮官。そんなだるそうにされたら困るわよ。礼儀というのはしとやかにやってみせるということではなく、細かいところまで気をつける心構えのことよ。そう、細かいところに気を配れるかどうかで決まるわ。覚えといて。未完了の任務が積み上がっているようね。いけないわ。このままだらけ続けるというなら、少ししつけをしてあげようかしら。
At level 125 with max affinity and enhancement, Poltava has 6,590 HP, 328 firepower, 177 AA, 151 reload, 32 evasion, heavy armor, 23 speed, 63 accuracy, 60 luck, and consumes 14 oil. Poltava has 2 skills, with the skills focusing on buffing other Northern Parliament ships and debuffing enemies. Her first skill, Oathbound Chains, at level 10, and when the battle starts, Poltava gets plus 15% firepower. When her main guns hit an enemy, there is a 70% chance to, for 8 seconds, decrease said enemy's speed by minus 15%, and buff other Gongut-class battleships and Northern Parliament Vanguard ships, damage dealt by plus 12%. Her second skill, Protecting Links, at level 10, and while Poltava is afloat, plus 10% evasion and minus 15% burn damage taken for Northern Parliament ships. When Poltava takes damage, she fires a special barrage, and for 10 seconds decreases the damage that Northern Parliament ships take by minus 10%. There is a 20-second cooldown for the barrage. The recommended equipment for Poltava is the triple 406mm Mark 7 for the best high explosive gun for shelling damage, the prototype triple 152mm Mark 25 for the best general use auxiliary light cruiser gun, the twin 40mm Bofors ST-AAG for the best main fleet AA gun, the Type 1 AP and super heavy shells for buffs to crit rate and crit damage, and the officer's sword for buff to evasion and accuracy, as well as buffing the firepower of main fleet ships after she fires her first volley. Poltava, when in the right fleet, can definitely make a difference in battle, with her stats being about what you'd expect from a elite rarity battleship, and her S1 buffing her own and other Northern Parliament ships' damage while also debuffing the enemy's speed, while her S2 increases the survivability of other Northern Parliament ships by buffing their evasion and reducing the damage they take overall and from burning. That being said, she's pretty much a waste of space in every fleet, but a Northern Parliament focused one, as both her S1 and S2 only give these decent buffs to Northern Parliament ships, meaning that if you have one odd ship out, she's probably not getting any buffs from Poltava whatsoever. There's also the point of her S1 having a 70% chance to debuff an enemy and buff other ships, but it's 70%, so it'll proc more often than not, but it's not as good as something that's guaranteed. Unless you're hyper-focused on building solo faction fleets, or really like the Northern Parliament as a faction, there's not much use in building Poltava, as her skills would mostly be useless, at least the buffs would be, in a mixed faction fleet. Low priority to build. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter and Blue Sky for updates, and please check out my other videos covering the Snow Realm Peregrination event for Azur Lane.